Okie dokes guys, welcome back to another video. This is a DIY kind of video for a modification for the Tokyo Marui Saiga 12. Now this is a DIY video. Now I do want to stress this really seriously here. This is a DIY video. It's not an upgrade technically because we're not changing parts, we're actually cutting a part. So this is permanent. Once it's done, it's done. I'm warning you guys all at home. This was an idea given to me by a couple of guys, as well as some people on Reddit who'd also said they tried the same. But this is the official guide on how to do it in your own home. So first things first, to do this you are going to need a pipe cutter. I've ordered this one off Amazon, it cost me £6, and then your Saiga 12. Now I probably also as well have a small file. This is going to be used for getting rid of any sharp parts afterwards. And I've got a measuring tool, a very accurate measuring tool here, just a very large screwdriver. To start off with this one, we first need to figure out where we want to cut the barrel. Now, the reason why we're cutting the barrel is on the TM Saiga 12, this much of the barrel is useless. It is only there for cosmetics. There is no actual purpose because the inner barrel stops here. Now, you might be able to see very closely, if you look closely, there's a mark about here. And that's because I've already marked where I'm going to cut it ahead of schedule for the video to make things simpler and easier. However, for you guys at home, first things first, you're going to want to see where your inner barrel gets to. Now, there's lots of ways of doing this. I actually have a tape measure, actually, so I can do this more professionally. So, stick the tape measure in to the end of the barrel of the gun. Let's move it a bit further off the desk here so you guys can see. So, stick the tape measure into the barrel of the gun. It'll actually... nope, this will not fit. This is why I was using... this is why I was using the screwdriver. I thought that wouldn't fit earlier. I use the screwdriver, I stick it in until I hit something at the very end. Now be very gentle, you don't want to hit it hard because otherwise you might bend one of the inner barrels. Okay. Once you get that point, you then can mark out with your finger or mark out with a bit of tape. I put a bit of tape on the screwdriver to mark where it had gone to the inner barrels. And that enables you to take the screwdriver out, so to speak, and then be able to mark where your inner barrels stop. Now you actually have a look there that my mark that I've left on there, hopefully the mark is visible, it's very, very small, it's here. The mark on there is slightly ahead of the inner barrel. That just means the inner barrels are not going to be exposed in any way, shape or form because you don't want to damage them. Now, once you have marked out where you're going to make your cut, you're going to get your barrel cutting tool. Well, barrel cutting tool is technically a pipe cutter. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting for me because I've never done this before, so we're doing it together. Now, there is a reason to why I'm cutting the barrel down rather than buying a short barrel offline. So, two reasons. Number one, short barrels offline, anywhere up to £70, out of stock everywhere here in the UK. Unless you're going to import one from abroad and pay absolutely extortionate fees to do that, it's impossible to get hold of them at the moment unless suppliers start getting them in stock. That's your first issue. Second issue is with these short barrel mods, what do they provide you that this DIY doesn't? And the answer is only one thing: threaded end of your barrel. Now, most of you there at home are going to be using muzzle devices, airsoft muzzle devices, and because of how airsoft shotgun muzzle devices work, nearly all of them are clamps. Now, yes, there are some TM muzzle devices out there that do go on the Tokyo Marui thread on the end of the Saiga 12. However, those are few and far between. They're also always out of stock, so again, another one that you're going to find very hard to get hold of. Whereas with this mod here, we're going to take the end off. Any clamp muzzle device, anything that uses a clamp, is going to fit on the end of this mod. So not a worry. I in fact have a much better idea to go on the end of this gun, which you guys will see in a future video. I already have a plan for what's going on the end. It won't look too bad either, because once you've smoothed out the end, all it's going to be is a bit of shiny metal around the end of the barrel. It's not a big deal. Again, not massive aesthetics wise. Bonus also for this mod here as well, if it does go horribly wrong and you cut it all wrong, the long barrels, the standard barrels, quite easy to come by at about £30, which is weird because the longer ones you would have thought more expensive because they're more material. So, following what this thing says to do online, we then need to attach it to the barrel of the TM gun. So this is where filming this and doing it at the same time is going to get difficult, but I'm going to try my best. So it says to line up, so I'm going to line up roughly with the mark I've made here. And it says just to put it in until it is snug. I would say that is now snug. Now, that is also perfectly lined up with my mark. It now says for every rotation, make it more snug. Awesome. Again, make it more snug again. And it says just continue doing this. Every time you rotate it, make it a little bit more snug. I'm actually going to do a couple of rotations for this now, just because it was getting pretty tough to make it more snug. There you go, I'm going to do a couple of rotations now, just because. Now, one thing this does specifically say to do with this cutter is never go backwards and forwards. And the reason why it says never to go backwards and forwards is you can actually splinter the cutting head, and at that point you're fucked. I mean pooed. Because as soon as you splinter that cutting head, you're going to have to buy a new cutter, and you're going to have to line this all up again and hope that you are actually getting the cut you want. So keep going. Now this was advertised for aluminium, copper, a bunch of others, and as far as my research suggests, this is a aluminium barrel. Now this has cut a little bit, but not much, so I'm actually going to tighten it a fair bit now and turn it a bunch of times. So I might fast forward ahead at some point, just because this might take a while because it's quite a thick barrel, but I will continue filming just in case anything interesting happens, or I mess it up. That's the other one. If I mess it up, you need to see too. So I think we're nearly there. Oh. Ta-da! Oh, that's actually done really nicely as well. Okay, so that's the piece we've cut off. And now we will take you guys in a wee bit closer to Okie dokes. That, if I can get it to focus this way, is the end of the barrel once I've cut it. So you guys now can see just how short and stubby that is, and just how that cut has gone. Awesome. I'm going to clip back into normal. I'm going to try and show you very quickly, just in case I cut out the section where I showed it to you earlier, of what the end of the barrel looks like now. That is what we cut through, and like I was making, I'm probably going to fast forward through a lot of the talking I did earlier, but I was making the joke that I could give this to somebody for their SPS if they wanted to make a really short SPS build. Now, at this point, the end of the barrel isn't too messy, and like I said, there is something going to go on the end of mine once it comes, so I'm just going to use the file I have here. This is actually a metal model file, and I think as far as I can remember it is when I bought it. And I'm just going to take off any of the sharp parts. The only thing I'm concerned about is getting metal into the inner barrels. so I'm just being conscious of that too. But I'm just getting rid of any of the outside rough parts and making the whole thing more smooth. But to be perfectly honest with you, that was such a decent... I thought it wasn't going to be as smooth as this cut-wise. I thought personally, the inner barrel was going to be... the outer barrel was going to be much tougher to sort out after the cut, but actually, just running this smooth, just running this file around the edge of the outer barrel seems to have, yep, there is now no debris on the inside of that whatsoever. It needs a little bit more tidying up, but I might do this off shutter camera because again it's a bit self-explanatory for you DIYers at home. What you're going to be doing, just remove some of that stuff off the top there. There's nothing sharp there at all now. Rub all my fingers along that. Got some metal filings to deal with, but I can hoover those up in a second. But there you go, look at the massive difference now for how much shorter this is for use. That is ridiculous. I can actually finally, for the first time in one of my videos, fit the entire blooming riff in a shot for you guys to see. So for this mod, the reason why I've done it is mainly because, again, for those of you who know me, you know I do a lot of CQB, and this is going to make an absolutely massive difference to CQB gameplay for me. So hopefully this has been somewhat useful. I don't know how I'm going to quite edit this yet, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed the way I've done it. I'm going to try and time lapse all of the stuff, and I'll give you an accurate amount of time it took me to actually cut the barrel down. This tool is available on Amazon. I just typed in pipe cutting tool. It was about £6 when I bought it, and it seems to have done the job rather well. There is a little mark on the inside of the outer barrel here, but again, this is going to be covered by what I've got coming to go on the end, which I will cover in a future video. Hopefully this little short barrel mod's been mostly or minorly useful for you all, and I will catch you guys in the next one.